tell you what my side was, but you have to look at it what it is from your side. You're here, and you waited. So, an hour is not too bad for the rest of your life. Right? Okay.
Sashi
Here for a very big purpose, big meaning, and don't have any doubt about that. Let them go now. I'm sure sometimes, some moments, some days you have a clear understanding about it, and then other days you might ask yourself, should I do? What should I do? Am I doing the teaching properly? Do I know what I'm doing? And then some days you'll feel really good. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. But life is it's so fragile, that kind of wave that we have in our minds. But there's no time to waste. And it really is a precious opportunity that has manifested. You made it happen. And you're here, and the best advice is just do it. Later you'll figure it out. Just when you think you haven't figured it out, something will come up and test you and question you. But once you have the protection of understanding emptiness, taking refuge, then you always have a foundation that will hold you. And you will keep just doing it. Because the knowledge will be in your heart. So you don't want to lose it, you want to make it firm. And you really are making a commitment to others. To get there fast. Because many wait for you. You can see that the day, the world, everything is just so unpredictable. Just when you do figure it out, something else will happen, and it'll show you again and again how unpredictable it is, how quickly things can change. You know, I mean, that is that way because our inner world is not pure yet. It comes from inside. The causes are rooted in ignorance, and that's why we see the world as unpredictable, as seemingly time waiting for something, but really, is it time that you're waiting for something or not? Time is just a perception too. If you want all that branches out from your heart to be perfect, to be exactly on time, to be exactly flowing the way that you would like it and you think it should be, then that's where the work has to be done. Then the results of that pure mind will extend to the universe. That's what makes the universe. So the roots of what creates your world, whether you like something or don't like something, is not because of anything other than you. The deepest things within our heart is what motivates us to do every single thing. Every single thing. No exception. And the root must be something impure if it's not going perfectly. It must be. You can logically know then that's why you're experiencing something that doesn't seem like what you expected. But when it does happen right, you have to know and really know that you did a good job. You arranged a good human life. And you will become free of all those sufferings, of all those disappointments, of all those times waiting for it to be the exact time. The time is now to do that. Just do it. The seeds ripened in this life for you to take refuge, for you to even hear anything about what refuge might mean. Something has ripened, something very big. It's a very big thing. It has a big meaning, big purpose. You've spent previous lifetimes arranging special causes just to get you here. And you might want to reflect on what those might be, because you're going to need to keep those going. Because it's ripening big now, so what happens? In many ways, because of the act of taking refuge, you will collect a lot, but on the same hand, something has ripened, so it is finished. And you don't want it to be completely finished. So it took greatness to get here, so you must continue to live with that kind of greatness in your life. You'll go from life to life, and the realm may seem to change. And you make transitions, and actually you won't even remember what it is you did. You might even be sitting, well, what did I do to get here? You probably won't remember, because it's not what you did yesterday. It's not the subway you got on to get here. It happened a long time ago. Especially to be in this room now, with each other, at this time. There's a connection. And you can see the result. You can see where you are. You can see who's around you. But you can't see what brought it about. But you have to think about what might have it been. What could it have been that I've done? You have to think about it, because you don't want to lose it. Now is the time to make it firm. You can study, you can study correlations, you can study, well, if I do this, this is how my world will ripen. That bumpy road was when I yelled at somebody. You can study it, but it's not going to make as much of a difference if you really just contemplate what you do, what you say and think, and what it brings. That's going to have so much more meaning. So much more. It's good to study in general how sufferings come with specific causes. Some are very subtle, and actually you won't ever know until you reach a certain stage of your development in your mind, and when you become enlightened, of course. But know that it's also not so mysterious, because you don't plant seeds for rice and sit there and wait for the wheat to grow. It's not like that. Everything does rely on unique causes. Everything you do. There are certain blockers in our mind that don't allow us to have that wisdom to perceive the nature of things and where things come from. We try, we study, we bring about as much as we can remember about emptiness, about karma, and so on. But there's so much that blocks us. And we just can't see what came before. And we can't find what will arise in the future, because the future is not here yet. So you have to have the patience, the joyous efforts, the focus, all imbued with the wisdom. Have to have it. Nothing exists on its own. It all comes from you. Everything. So for something that has such big meaning and such big purpose in your life right now, and it came from you, that's very big. When you have a body and mind that's endowed with every spiritual opportunity and resource, and it is so difficult to find, and it so easily can be destroyed. I mean, will you one day be so tormented with pain of hunger, thirst, freezing ice, unbearable heat? Will you? Are you so sure that you won't? You must be ready to not bear those kinds of sufferings again. Be sure you do not want to. Then maybe you can be sure you won't. You have to be sure you do not want big sufferings and the little ones. Those are the hardest ones to actually be sure of that you don't want. We get so used to it. They rule us. They wake us up in the morning. Put us to sleep at night, or not. So now's the time to supplicate to your Lama, to your angel. In this very moment, I swear I will attain the high state of my Lama, the Buddha. Leaving behind each and every suffering, I beg you, my Lama, my angel, that I may be able to do this. It's really preliminary to find a teacher. Somebody you can surrender to and serve. They will guide you every step of the way. It's a big honor in life to serve them. It's the best thing you can do with your life. The more you serve them and see them as special, the more it works for you. That's when the magic will begin. Your life is so special. You have that opportunity. You have the resources. You're at an incredible place. You did it. You got here. And you want to stay here. You need the guidance. And you want to be able to use all that you have for something special. So you're going to have to really, really reinvest the goodness which has ripened upon you to be here now. You have to reinvest the virtue you're going to gain from doing this very holy act of refuge. So don't use up all your goodness and just wither away and die. You've collected billions upon billions of imprints in your heart chakra. There's a storehouse smaller than the tip of a needle. Those are those billions and billions and billions of seeds. Inside there, billions and billions of seeds. Acts of kindness that you had to do. Many lives. So trying to be a good person and hoping for a good rebirth is like a what do they call that thing when you spin a roulette game, you know, with the bullet in the chamber. Seriously, it's like you put one bullet in and you spin it around, and you pull the trigger, and what? You hope for the best. That's what we're doing all day long. You're hoping for the best. You're hoping for a good life. You're hoping that this act of kindness is going to help someone, help you. I mean, it's really crazy, you know. But why take that chance? Why just put one bullet in? Why not be fully loaded with wisdom? So that every single thing that you focus on will work. It will bring you exactly to that finish line of where you go. So you need the ultimate protection to have that certainty. That all you do and all you say and all you think will bring you exactly what you expect. mean, if you choose not to go all the way and give it, more than your best, you may win or you may be out of the game. Right? Even when you give it your best, things will happen. How do you respond? There's potential for good, there's potential for loss. The potential is there. The potential is endless. You just never know what's going to pop out from moment to moment to moment. You don't know. So you want to do something now. You can't wait. I mean, I don't know. We have reasons why we think we wait for things and we put things off, or we say we're not ready, or we still need to think about things. And I know all the excuses. I know all the, and some really good, holy, virtuous excuses, it seems. I had to do all this stuff for my lama, so I couldn't prepare for class. You don't know what's going to happen the next moment. You don't know when you're going to die. So if you keep waiting, and it's something in your heart you really want to do, right? So maybe you're getting closer to death. You say, I better do it now. It's crazy. Especially a moment like that. I mean, you can't see when your death is going to happen. You don't know how, you don't know when. And as a Dharma practitioner, you are playing the odds. You're trying to make sure the right conditions will work. You're trying to do the good things that will ripen with such goodness in the future. You are doing it. But it's still playing the odds, because are you sure? How sure are you when you do something? Really, how sure are you? What can we do to become more certain? If you try to reach in, and you have billions and billions of seeds in your heart chakra. You try to reach in, and you've been so good. You've been collecting so much virtue, serving your love, and helping others beyond your imagination. And then you can see all the goodness, and you try to reach in each time so you can have more goodness come about. How do you know that's what the seed is that's going to be ripened? You might find that one negative seed that's just waiting and has been fertilized because it's that one mental affliction you can't get rid of. You think it's only something little, but it grows. How can you determine for sure that you will not have that ripen at the time of death? Especially then. Right? And in the moment of death, are you really going to be so calm and meditating and trying to shoot your mind into a perfect rebirth? Especially then, the most frightening moment of your life. If you can't do it today when you're feeling good and healthy, you're going to wait for that moment? Can't wait till then. You can't sit and be comfortable with where you're at, with all your mental afflictions. You can't. It's comfortable to stay with what's familiar. You know that, A week goes by, a year goes by. Oh, that thing I've been wanting to do. I've been trying to change. Look how much time has gone by. It's still on the top of your list. It's comfortable to stay there. It's like our mental afflictions function for us. We're functioning the way, because of that. It keeps us together, perceiving ourselves the way we are and who we are. But is that such a good thing? How good is it working? How certain are you that you're going to get out of that? That's how good it's working, because you're not so certain. You see? If you're not able to take, it's like when you're trying and you are working at it, you have to be able to actually, you know, how do you say? You have to be able to take the heat. You have to. Nothing less. Use the time to make the shift. It is, and if you don't try to shift in your mind, then you don't have compassion. You don't. If you still have excuses why you don't want to let's just say, if you don't want to simply apply the teachings that you've had to get you this far, then you just don't have the compassion. Because you don't care about other people, because you're doing what's comfortable for you. It's not comfortable to change. It's not. If it was easy, we would do it very quickly. If you have any concern for other people's pain, then you would try and you would devote yourself to freeing yourself and others from suffering. There has to be a certain, well, first it's you have to reach a point where you're uncomfortable with the place you're in. You see? Uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. It feels so unright that you begin to have a little fear. You know, when you know that feeling of fear. It's like that. I was just on a plane and we were going through the clouds, and that plane was up and down, and there's this feeling that just rises in you that like just takes over your body. It's a fear. That kind of a fear you should have. It's physical. It's mental. It's all you can think about. What am I doing at this moment as I'm possibly going to my death instead of the runway? Right? To have that every moment would be, because I know the thoughts that went through my mind at that moment. And I was studying at the time. And I started praying at the time. I pulled on all the resources, but the fear was still there. And that's what's going to happen. That's what should happen. So you don't stop. You have to believe that you have a big problem. Big problem. You have to know. You have to say. You can't just say, "I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm doing better than I did last year. I'm happier. Things are getting better." Yeah, acknowledge it. Please do. Please understand the things that maybe you've done to have that happen in your life, and that is good. But you have to still feel that there's a problem. There's some clouds very thick that you have to go through, and it's going to be a bumpy ride. And you don't want those clouds there anymore. You don't want those things that block you. Because if you don't, I mean, it's simple. If you don't think you're sick, then you're not going to go take some medicine. You're not going to go to the doctor. You're not going to. If you don't think you're hungry, you're not going to eat. If you don't think that you have a problem or some suffering, then you're not going to do anything to change it. You know people like that. You think they're suffering. You see they're having a problem. You try to help, and they're like, they don't do anything. They're not listening. They don't think they have a problem. Why should they do anything? It's not a problem, right? It has to motivate you. Something has to motivate you. I mean, do you have any sense of fear of the cycles of pain and suffering that you can go through life after life after life? Day after day after day. Do you go to bed at night thinking, what's going to happen tomorrow? Did I plant all those bright seeds today? Rejoice when you find the things that you did do, and please then do more the next day. You need more, so there's no like going to bed like all contented like I did it. You should rejoice. That'll help you sleep. So the idea is that what is going to really protect you at that moment when you have that, feel that? Because if I'm saying it should be that big, physical, mental, you should feel it, then what are you going to do? Is really doing some mantras and studying at the same time while the plane is dipping and rising, is that really going to save me? At that moment. What can I put my trust in? Because I want to get out of that feeling fast, real fast, in a good way. Right? I mean, how can I take refuge in anything? What am I going to trust? But before even really getting to that point, you have to realize you have a problem. I tried, you sit back, oh, it's just the crowds. They made the announcement, seatbelts on, what do they call it? Turbulence. They have all these words, try to make you feel happy. Yeah. So you don't think you have a problem. So then you sit back and you try to, what, enjoy the ride? I don't know, what? I don't know. Is that going to help? Is that going to make a difference? Which is what, should I sit back and enjoy it and know that I have no problem? Well, maybe the mantras and the studying might have been a little something at least, right? You're thinking, right? You have to know you have a problem. Regardless of what someone's telling you. Because, people will tell you all the time, oh, that's not such a big deal. Tomorrow's another day. Oh, yeah, it's going to come, right? Tomorrow. Oh, you'll find someone better. So what do you do? I mean, what do you really do? You have to think about it. What can I do? Do I want to just sit there and go through the bumpy ride and take it? No, I don't. I gotta get on another plane in 2 days. I don't want that bumpy ride. It's bigger than that. It's really bigger than that. But every moment, something like that, or even little things, every moment you take refuge in something. You have to know what that is. Because, I mean, you have to know what it is for you personally. You have to know. I mean, I pick up this cup because I am thirsty. I take refuge in the liquid that is in here. That will quench my thirst. I take refuge in that. Every action we do is like that. Is it the tea that's going to quench my thirst? Am I protected from thirst now? Honestly, no, I can't. You know, will it get rid of thirst? We take medicine. Is it going to get rid of that sickness? You hope, right? You know, you turn the key in the car. Does it have anything to do with the car starting? Turn the light switch on. Does it have anything to do with the light switch? Some of the stuff you think, you can think. Obviously, you've turned the light switches and the lights don't go on. Obviously, you've turned the key in the car and the car doesn't start. Obviously, you've drank stuff and you're still thirsty. But you keep reaching for the drink, you keep turning the light switch on without thinking what really is the cause. Now, those things you're not necessarily thinking are big. So you don't sit down, well, how can I make sure I'm not thirsty? We usually just go for the big things. We don't look at how we take refuge all day long in the little things. And once you do, it will make a huge difference. Huge difference. Because we take refuge in things all day long and in things that have nothing to do with the result you seek. You're seeking to not have hunger, so you eat. What will really end your hunger forever? Feeding others. You work to get money. I don't know. I mean, I think it's really, because, some things are really, eating. I'm using very basic examples. You've got to look for your own self. Because that's what's really going to make a difference. Because it's not even the basic things that you do all day long. It's the things that define you. The things that you really aspire to be or aspire to have personally. But there's this funny little piece that you have to you want a certain result, and you take certain actions to get it. If you don't look at what the problems in your actions are, then you won't get it. If you don't look at the wisdom in your actions are, you won't. If you don't look at what the problem might be when you get it, it won't happen perfectly. You see? But we're usually just happy with a little, it's okay. If he's cute enough. As long as the car is, not an American car, one of those foreign sports cars. It can be any kind, it's okay. You settle. Because it's not, you kind of are used to not getting exactly what we want. We get used to it. We don't see that there's a problem with that. Why should we be used to that? Why can't you get exactly what you want? Why can't you expect it to be perfect? If you don't see that there's some sort of, I keep saying problem, I don't know if there is another word for it. Just something that's just not right. It's just not perfect. It's just not exactly what you want. I mean, what can you tell me in your life is exactly what you want? Exactly. You know he's so close to being that exact guy. He's so close. But there's these couple of little quirks that he has. You know? And you're willing to put up with it. Now, I'm not saying you should get rid of that. It's coming from you, and you know it. So that's where the change happens. But if you don't, then once you realize there's something just not right about it, you have to be a little bit afraid about it, a little bit of fear, a little bit of like you know, like when you get thrown off balance. There has to be that feeling. But because if you're too comfortable in it, you know, you won't do anything. You just won't do it. I know. Why wasn't I saying mantras 10 minutes ago before the plane started dipping and rising and dipping and shaking and you know? Why not? I'm not saying that that's always the answer. I'm just saying at that moment, you took some kind of refuge. But why didn't you take that kind of refuge before? Why didn't I just make sure everybody had something to drink in here so I wasn't so thirsty? Right?
That's great.
And that should make me uncomfortable. There has to be that kind of uncomfortable feeling. Otherwise, you won't seek any kind of protection. You won't do it. You just won't do it. If you don't have a little bit of fear, a little bit of off balance. You know, if you don't run for cover, if there's nothing to run or cover from. If you don't have enough fear for the sufferings of any kind of existence that is less than being enlightened, I mean, do you really want to never ever live in a lower realm that spins you around in a cycle of pain? Or you think, if I get another human life, that'd be cool. I'm telling you, because that's not so hard to get. Oh, wait, that is very hard to get. I take that back. So it's not, but you should be uncomfortable with that. You should be uncomfortable. This is a great place to be. You are in the perfect place to reach those goals. You wouldn't want to be any other kind of being than what you are right now. But once you decide that there's something even uncomfortable with this human life, then you might have something rise in your heart that you want to go and get help from to get out of it. Something. There has to be some belief in the thing that you're going to get help from. You don't go to someone who can't help you when you need help. You don't go to the corner store when you're bleeding. Well, you know, bleeding beyond a Band-Aid. You might have to go to the store, but but is that ultimate help, right? The store for the Band-Aid for when you're bleeding. What if you're bleeding so much that you took a different action at that moment? What would happen? Do you think it's the Band-Aid that stops the blood? Don't not do it, though. Don't stand there and say, whoa. Let me see if I meditate, if I do my mantras, and I finish my homeworks here, and the pain is not going to, you know. Right? It's a while for those things to ripen. Get the Band-Aid and then figure out what you need to do. So it won't happen tomorrow. That's a key. But you have to know that something's wrong with that Band-Aid approach. You will need them. They will be useful. And often you will have to do them. You will have to. But it's not going to be what protects you. It is not going to be what will stop it from happening again. It will not be that. And you should be afraid of that. As you're doing it, as you're taking that Band-Aid approach, you should be thinking, I don't want this to ever happen again. So what are you going to put your hope in? What are you going to put your, trust in to help you? Say Kyamdro. Kyamdro. That's refuge. Kyamdro. Kya is to cover something. So you're going to refuge, like is to run for cover. It's a state of mind in which, of your own accord, you put all your hopes into some other object to be assistance to you. Because you believe it can help you. You believe it can help you. You go to refuge in that object. When you're a child, something hurts, you run to your mother or your father or somebody that will help you. It's a kind of a natural reaction at that age. You're afraid, you run to somebody who makes you feel comforted. So you have to know why or how or when all these things you're taking refuge in going to give you that comfort and that help and that support and everything that you need, every single thing that you need to protect you forever and ever. It's big. Does ordinary going for refuge work? Where you're sick and you go to a doctor, does it work? The last time you were sick, do you remember? Or maybe you're sick now. I don't know. But every time the sickness passes, you kind of think it's not going to come again. Maybe it's something you've been told is going to come again. And you have fear. And you try for something to stop it. And at that time, you do put some refuge into something that gives you hope. Because you're that much afraid. Because sometimes, I mean, you have to admit, the reason we haven't taken big measures is because the things that we're doing to help us actually work more than not. It works more than not. That's why we keep on that edge of not doing anything. Because the things that we go to for help work most of the time. So otherwise you wouldn't keep going back to that same thing for help. You'd come up with another plan, another how-to book, or another, and another, and another. Especially the things you keep going to, because they keep working. Keep eating, because it stops you hungry. Can't even imagine doing something else, can you? And can you really imagine, you know, just waking up and feeding people every day and not eating, and you know, or something that would work? Don't try it like that. Don't just stop giving and not eat for the day. It's not how it works. It doesn't ripen that fast. Oh, let me see if this works. So, you know, you wake up, you start feeding everyone. Next day goodbye, feeding everyone, and you're like starving. You know, just start feeding everyone. See what happens. Don't worry. You probably need to eat a little to have some strength to go out there and feed them. You know, but I mean, but can you imagine? You know, it seems a little. You're not sure. You're just not sure about that. You're just not sure. I don't know. You have to find the things that you continue to go to refuge for. And notice that how you get used to it. You just get used to it because it takes away enough of your pain for the moment, and you get used to it. You don't want it to come back. Every time something comes back, you should think at that moment, if you could at least bring that about in your mind. Every time something comes back, that again, then I'm telling you, what you did didn't work. Right? It didn't work. Now, then you're going to think, wait, but they told me to start feeding people, and you keep trying. You did it for a year, and you're still hungry. And then you say, it didn't work. See, it's very tricky. You still have to do some of those things. Even though you're going to sit here and say, I'm telling you they don't work. You know, as far as, the way to get money is to go to work. You still have to go to work. You can't just sit home and give away your pennies and expect that you're going to get really rich. You know, it's not going to work that fast. Eventually. So it's not good enough excuse to say it doesn't work. But recognize. But then you might want to think, why isn't this virtue working? You might want to contemplate that. I mean, what are the sufferings that you even might want to look out for that are happening on a day-to-day basis for yourself? That don't go away. I mean, just basic suffering of suffering, right? The pains that we have, the headache, the backache. I mean, you're not in bed all day long, so, if you're not in bed all day long, then, you put up with it. You put up with those little sufferings. You know your limit. I can, walk here, walk there, but I won't lift that. To a certain extent, you put up with your sufferings, but then you might draw the line. Well, I can't do this, I can't do that. How could you do anything? Think about it. How could you do anything with just even a little bit of suffering? How could you do anything that's for somebody else when you have a little bit of suffering? And then there's these things that we get that are good, the happiness we have. You know, we have some really good moments. We have some nice friends, some enough warmth, enough space in our house. We have good things, but they change. They wear out. They burn down. They die. They're suddenly not nice anymore. Whatever the reason might be. They don't stay. They change. And underlying those kind of suffering is the conditions we have and the things that are pervasive within us. It's the things that we did in the past and we keep doing in the past, the conditions we keep setting up for those things to keep wearing out, and for those things, those headaches to keep coming. Those causes and conditions. That's what those causes and conditions offer, even the little happinesses and the big happiness and the little pains and the big pains. Because that's the work, is in that foundation. It's not changing your apartment to have bigger space. It's not getting a new job to have better money or to better co-workers. That's not what's going to change it. It is not going to change it. Did somebody get that? Yeah. That's for you. For you. We don't have much control over the present moments. Very hard to take. Very hard. We don't have it. I know you want to think you do, right? Those mantras at that time made me feel good. Just a little. Stomach. But you want to think I have some sort of control in this moment. It's the only way to get through a moment sometimes, right? So guess what? Then you need to do that. But no, it's not ultimate. You could do it, but just know it's not ultimate. You see? It's better to think at that moment, really, honestly, truly, than just that Band-Aid, than just that mantra, is to know where things are coming from. Shoot into a meditation of where this comes from. See what happens. That's taking refuge. That's taking refuge. It's too late to do anything in the moment. How does that feel? See, now you should be getting a little bit of that fear, a little bit of that discomfort, thrown off balance. You should. You need to. So then what do? Right? You're in the moment. What are you going to do? Why spend so much energy to change that moment? Is the question. What maybe could you be thinking about? Not to have another moment like that ever again is a start. How about thinking, at this point, I don't want to ever have a life again that will have these kind of moments. Because maybe that's possible. Even if you're still kind of thinking it's life after life after life, it's very hard. to wrap our minds around that. The possibility, just the possibility in your mind to think that is big, that it's possible. Can you be motivated what's going to happen after your death? Can you be? Instead of so much like, oh, I got to get out of this situation, I got to get out of this moment, I got to get out of this room, this guy's really bothering me. You know, we spend so much energy. I got to get out of this like body. I got to go to a yoga class. I got to get out of this hunger. I got to get something to eat. Where do we go? What do we do? A lot of energy is like spent on these momentary, like, I gotta get out of this situation, right? This momentary. How about I gotta get out of this like life that I'm setting up for next life? I want to make it a big difference by this little moment of what's going on here. You know, this little moment I gotta get out of, like right now. Can't wait till the week goes by, you know, so there's all this, project is done. Yeah. Can't wait till we hit the runway. Oh, we're gonna hit the runway. Yeah. I want to get out of this life. I want to get enlightened actually before my death. I just need to say that. But we're taking refuge here. And we're talking about the least motivation you should have. If you want to have after your breath stops, you're concerned about what's going to happen after death. Okay? Then you become so dedicated to that you don't want to even have any rebirths after that, like that. You see? You can extend it a little further, and then even a greater scope of mind would be, I'm going to get some help to someone's got to assist me in this here because I want to protect every living being from not having to do that, not only myself. And that's why you need some help. You really do. Come on, you know. I mean, we're going to do a ceremony to proclaim taking refuge in that, that in that holy state of mind, to be able to get some protection, to not have these kinds of suffering rebirths again and again. But it won't form in your mind if you don't have this kind of faith and fear in your heart. It won't. It'll be just another Band-Aid. Another prayer you have to do. Another commitment for your book. I mean, and then you're thinking, okay, wait. I mean, how can I even prove that this is some kind of life? How can I prove this? Many of us want to have that kind of proof. You don't want to go on blind faith necessarily. You do want to feel that there is some sort of faith. You want to feel it. Right? You want a little indication you're on the right track. Don't you? I mean, can you prove in your mind that there is a future life? Or what's going to happen after you're dying? You remember what happened before? Some people can. I mean, it's hard to find any proof of future life. I mean, let's just think about the mind for a while. We believe the mind is, I don't know, you think about it, if you meditate on it, the mind must be in this body, right? Somewhere. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? You try to think, where's the mind? Because if this body goes, if it's somewhere over here, and then if I lose my arm, am I going to lose my mind? If if I lose this whole body, if it stops breathing, where's my mind going to go? Is it going to go, is it going to die too? I mean, the tendency is to think that the mind stops once the body stops. You have to say, the tendency is to think that. I mean, you've heard it, oh, I only have one life to live. Might as well live it up. Might as well make the most of it. We think that all day long. In some ways, we do. I only have this body, I might as well work out all the time. Get it good. Put so much energy into getting this body good. If that's your motivation. You could work on this body in certain ways for the motivation of a future life. It's not saying that you shouldn't do that. Remember, I'm not saying you shouldn't do. It's the motivation. It's the thinking, what kind of result you're looking for, and what kind of result possibilities there even are. You've heard, living for today, living in the moment. They think Buddhists do that, right? Oh, they're in the moment. One of those Buddhist rumors. Living in the now. What is that? We do it all the time, though. We do. Buddhists and non-Buddhists do it all the time. So, you can't remember the first moment of your mind. You don't know the moment of the mind next. Where does the mind come from? And you have to start contemplating it. You really do. Because if you're thinking about future lives, and you have to think, well, what does that mean? Am I going to take this body into future lives and bring the mind back? No. You all know that. We're getting older. The body's changing. You're like, I don't want this body. Right? The mind is a continuum. What was even your first thought in this life? Oh, nobody? It's hot, wet, stuffy in here. Right? Some kind of discomfort. Maybe it's warm sometimes. But what triggered those thoughts, those feelings? I mean, you think you had no feelings in the womb? Suddenly you felt, and you popped out. All this feeling now, all of a sudden? And there was no feeling before, no mind before, that your mind just came into existence when? When the sperm and the egg met, and your mind came from where? Oh, maybe from your parents' mind. Oh, God, that's scary. Huh? You know it is. You know it. You won't even go there, actually. But that's almost the most logical thing, because it's mind and mind. You might think, if you're thinking, you should be thinking that, if anything. But it has to come from the same stuff. But then you'll come up with enough reasons of how your mind is not like your parents' mind. So there must be some stuff that's different, right? Yeah. It has to have that same material cause, the same stuff. Then there's contributing factors. That's the water, the fertilizer, the egg, the sperm, so on and so forth. Think of the possibilities of what was that first thought. You'll keep going back and back and back. There's no beginning, no end. And you meditate on that. The mind is totally different. Then the nature of the mind is totally different than the nature of matter, of physical things. Right? You can divide matter. You can see matter. The mind is invisible, ineffable. It's clear. So you tell me, rather than always looking for what is the proof of future lives, you tell me, what is the proof that there isn't? Do you have a proof that there isn't? Who can give one proof that there isn't? Who can prove that your mind is destroyed when you die? We hold on so much. Oh, I can't prove for two lives. I don't know. You know, should I? Should I believe? I don't know. I go to heaven. Well, what's up there? I go to hell, purgatory. I'm in the middle there, and that's it. Only one life. Well, what's that? No life? I don't know. What's the proof that it doesn't go on? Which one are you going to hold on to? But you have to think about it. And then you wonder, okay, wait, I thought we were taking refuge here. What are we talking about, huh? You have to know what's going to determine the content of your mind next life. Taking refuge. You have to. Don't take refuge just for this life. It is not just for this life. It is not. Your mind is indestructible, and ultimately your mind will become the mind of an enlightened being. That's why we're taking refuge. The emptiness of your mind. And you have to think about them, because that's your motivation. And then think about how we take refuge in, well, how you need to identify how you take refuge in this life, in worldly objects. What does that mean? You know? I mean, we've been taking that kind of refuge forever. Turning on which faucet's going to get me the hot water, and which one's going to get me the cold water. And then if they're not labeled, you know, you fumble. And then you go visit somebody and you can't figure it out in the shower. And you're like, it's like, you want protection. I want my hot water, and the faucet's not going to the right way. I don't even know if there's a certain way it's supposed to turn right or left. You know, we take refuge in these little things all day long. If I turn it this way, that hot water will always come on, especially at home. You don't even have to look. You can do it, right? What happens when you turn the hot water on? It comes out cold. What happens to your refuge there? What would you think? Oh, the faucet's not working. Oh, this isn't working. No. What happened? Did you give somebody some nice hot water that was freezing on the street today? Those things we take refuge in just don't work all the time. I don't know. Do you have something that works all the time? Maybe I don't know. Really, please think about it. It makes a big difference. Because if you're at a point, I mean, and I think sometimes you come to the Dharma because you've really reached the point that nothing works. And you really want out. And there's that feeling because you've had a lot of tragedy, a lot of things in our lives. But then sometimes you also stay in the Dharma and come to the Dharma because you feel better. You know, you do feel better. But that's still not enough. Because you want to make sure it happens next life. Where are you going to take a rebirth with? How many teachers are you going to find then? Are you so sure, you know, that sperm and egg is going to meet and make a nice intellectual mind that's going to be able to grasp some of the teachings? Even if they're intellectual parents, right? Because we said we were not going to have their mind, right? No guarantee. You know, we take refuge in It's like, it's like we're hanging in this, in this place. We're like, how do you say? We're like a boat in the water tied to the dock, and we have all these ropes that come out, keep us tied to this world, and that's what we take refuge in. We take simple refuge in our things that define us. We take refuge in our family. It defines us. It's a big part of our support system. And maybe you create your own family, whatever, family, community, right? You could be lost without it, and that determines how much you put into it. Does it always come first? We take refuge in the country. Even though you might not think you do, but you do. You haven't moved yet. Maybe if we had less concern about where we lived and what it is to have a country, there would be less borders and no war. But we take refuge in that. We have this network of support for our life. And all you have to do is get a little shook up, or the ropes start, fraying. And you start feeling a little unsupported. Because you've been taking refuge in these things for a really long time. Consciously and unconsciously. Especially, at the last weeks of your life, you've seen it happen. Those kind of support things just start going away. Too old, you don't go to work, there's no support there. Country, you don't even know what country you're in. Our language, we take big comfort in our language, just being able to speak, to communicate. It would be very radical for a person to give up their language and start speaking someone else's language. Right? And those of you who maybe are not from this country and speak a different language, you know how that feels. It's very difficult. We are always looking for support in just even, we have all this identity and refuge wrapped up in spending money, consuming. As long as I can spend, I'm somebody. As soon as I can't spend, I'm nobody. I'm not who I used to be because I don't have that money I can spend anymore. We identify ourselves with that. We take refuge in it. Your house, your car, whatever, your shoes. And we're in New York, so it's probably more like shoes. Right? Walk everywhere. Your shoes define you in New York City. It's true, I think. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's funny. That's what we take. You have to look at it. What do I take refuge in? Because for each person, some people are saying, God, I haven't had a new pair of shoes in years. It doesn't matter to you, the shoes, obviously. Right? You're not taking refuge in that. Some people might. So you have to, what is it for me that identifies who I am? That's what I go for support. That's what protects me. That's what keeps me all together. That's what keeps me functioning. That's what keeps me going. What would happen if you stripped it all away? Don't walk around naked without shoes and stuff like that. It's not saying that. Please wear something that you feel very divine in and all that. But are you taking refuge in that? It's the ties that keep us docked in that one spot. But can you create new ties that'll keep you so supportive that you will be able to take care of others instead of all these things about yourself, right? You know? I mean, we just think about our little world and all these ties and things that we have. It's bigger than that. Do you have the courage to cut all those ropes and just float? Because then you're available to be something else when you cut them. You see? You're then available to be something else. You can't continue taking refuge in things that don't work. So please try to identify what it is for you. Because they'll just get in the way. It just gets in the way. It becomes huge obstacle. Huge. Because then, if you're not so tied to these things that you're taking refuge in this life, then you're free. You have to. Then your mind is free to live outside of this body. It won't be so tied to this life, to this body, that you'll be able to have a perfect mandala, a perfect rebirth, perfect enlightened body. So understand where things really come from. It's good to have a good pair of shoes, a good house, and all those things, but where does it really come from? Because then you can walk around and help somebody, then you can get a good night's sleep so you can help somebody. Or you can have them come over and have some meat, or have a pair of shoes to give away. Something. Just at some moment, you have to surrender and forget. Forget everything else that you've been holding on to that works. You just kind of you have to shed it. And it's really not comfortable. You will feel that off balance. You will feel like the plane is dipping down. You will get, it's a visceral feeling. It might be uncomfortable. You need guidance. You need support. What is it? Emptiness, karma, the Lama, the Buddha. You're taking refuge in yourself as an enlightened being. You, the angel. All day long, if you're in that mindset of emptiness and karma, refuge is just the right world view. You know, taking an act of refuge in karma would be getting vows and keeping them. And if the things that you say, you do, and you think cause everything you currently experience, then to have some specific guidelines like vows is a method, is a method to kind of check your mind and check your actions and stuff like that. Your mind will take you. Your mental afflictions, you won't even notice that you're not fighting back. You won't even notice that they're controlling you. when they're big, you notice. I'm talking about the very subtle ones in your everyday life. When the big, it really throws you off balance. You notice, I should do something about this. But you have to understand the principles of karma and consequences, causes and effects. You need that to actually develop a kind of faith of what's going to help you. You have enough fear, it's throwing you off balance. I don't want to go in that suffering realm again. I don't want to see other people suffering. You have enough of that. But now you have to have some faith in what's going to help you. You have to believe something's going to work. All the time. Not just sometimes. All the time. You have to feel it's going to work all the time. That's pretty big, right? Because you know, even when you're taking refuge in worldly objects and things, and you're satisfied with the work in just some of the times, just to get you through the day. It's okay. Right? Is it okay? It is. It gets you through the day. If it wasn't okay, you'd do something. And I know that's why many of you are here. It's because you want to do something. But what is like going for refuge and karma have in common and emptiness? You have to really start knowing that it's not that what they even have in common or what they even, you can't do one without the other. I mean, you know, like if you do a certain action, you say something, you think something, there's something that's similar is going to happen after. You yell, they yell. Okay? You give, they give. There's something similar that is going to occur. And then there's like, I give one flower, you get many flowers. It grows. Okay? Anytime you have a chance to do any little thing nice, do it. It grows. That's the good part about good karma. Now, bad karma, you should be thinking that, oh, it grows. Oh my gosh. No, it's just one little word I said. You're going to have a whole paragraph, if not more. One little word. It grows. And you wonder why they carried on in that argument. Okay? Do something good so nothing is wasted. So nothing will be wasted. You know, and if you're having a bad day, you know, we have them. And you can't help yourself from being a little maybe disrespectful or, you know, unkind to others, you fight it. That fight is a big deal. That grows. You see? The fight against your own mental fiction will grow. It'll get so strong that the mental fiction will start to rise, and there'll be this thing that goes, before it even like that. Yeah. So, and then if there's no cause, then there's no action, which is good on the negative side, but on the virtue side, that's not so good. If I don't do that, well, then that's not going to happen, and then that's good. But if I don't do that, and that's not going to happen on the virtue side, then that's not good. You see? Once you do something too, you want to give it some nice, when you do good things, you want to give it some good power, more power. The conditions, you want to also create good conditions. You know, it's like you take an act of refuge and you take some refuge commitments and they think that's it. Will that be it? Will that be enough to get you by till the next life? Will it? You know, it's like, you know, you have your little flowers and you know it. You can, I don't know. I'm not very good at it. But some people are, you know, you either water too much and, you know, you kill them. That's what I mean. Or you don't water them and you kill them, or, you know, or you water them just perfectly and they grow just beautifully, enough sun, enough this, enough that. Right? It's like that. You don't want to put too much water on those mental afflictions, do you? That's what'll happen if you give it too much power. Be careful not to water those mental afflictions with too much. And you just fight them. That's really powerful to fight them. It really is. It lasts a long time. It's actually the one good thing about suffering and mental afflictions. It gives you that opportunity. That's the one good thing about suffering. It gives you something to get out of. If you were in a place where there was absolutely no suffering, then you, right? I mean, you're comfortable now, you don't do anything. Can you imagine if there was no mental afflictions, no sickness, no nothing? Then you wouldn't do anything. Unfortunately, in that situation, as you know, if you've studied anything, what happens is all that good stuff just wears out, and you're back to the stuff that was sitting there waiting for all that goodness to wear out, and then boom! It's a very hard place to be, actually. A really hard place in that being a pleasure being such a pleasurable realm. I guess that's a good moment. Go ahead. Technical difficulties. Which will only take a second, so if you want to take the second, but it's only going to take a second. Right? What's that? Please do. Should we just start again now, or wait for more technical difficulties? Are you certain? Right? How certain can we be? If you're not certain, if you're not sure, that something will help you, then you won't do it. If you're not sure that there's something to be helped with, then you won't do it. At this point, just know the huge potential of the act of taking refuge in emptiness and what that can do. Know for sure that the mind does go on. Just know for sure that it does. Nobody told me a proof that it doesn't. I'm not going to worry and try to prove to you how it does. I'm not going to do that. I want to hear the proof of why it does it and how it does it. And at this point, if you can't say that, then I don't know why you need to give me proofs of why it does or it doesn't. Like, which are you going to give weight to? Just know that the potential for it to go on is great, huge. You know it. You know what you put in your mind in first grade and second grade, third grade, all the way up till this moment. You learned something, didn't you? Some things. We learned how to tie our shoes, basic things. You learn. There's something that does keep going in your mind. In this life, what will indicate that what will stop? That's scary enough for me. Where's all this knowledge going to go? Oh, wait. How much of this knowledge is going to go? Right? You know, you do your practice, and you meditate, you're virtuous, and then you're thinking, well, how much am I going to be able to take with me? Because I've already said, okay, the mind goes on, I'm going to do it, I'm going to take refuge, I'm going to not get into the lower rebirth, I'm going to do everything I can with the power of emptiness behind it. But how much am I going to take with me? What will I take with me? Oh, then that fear comes back. I don't want to take that stuff again. I don't want to go through another life like that, right? You should get that feeling. No, not that. I'll take this. I don't want that. You know? Because that tendency that we take with us from life to life of seeing things as self-existent, you will take, unless you eliminate that. And once you eliminate that and the seeds for that, then you're enlightened. So you will still see things as self-existent. So why not start working on that now? Start chipping away at that. See emptiness directly in this life. That doesn't go away. It's like, oh, next life I'll be born, I won't have that tendency. That's one thing that goes. This is the last one, things that we eradicate before enlightenment. That things are only what they appear to me, right? Oh, no, they're not like that. I know, it's only how I see them. But how about you? How about you? You have to look at the emptiness of you. It's easy to understand the emptiness of the room and the screaming person at work because I scream, he screams, they all scream for ice cream. Where did that come from? The things you take with you from first grade. Fun, huh? Yeah. What's that, really?
Down by Law.
What is it?
The movie Down by Law.
I don't even know. Must have been another life. You see how things can just go. They just pop up whenever. You don't know when something's going to pop up. You don't. It's so uncertain. Even in the midst of a very holy thought. You'll realize that on the tree. Oh, boy. In the middle of a retreat, in the middle of doing mantras, you're on 510,000 in. Yeah. Yeah. The good thing is, even though things will pop up and things are very uncertain, if your intention and then your response is not harmful, is not feeding the useless thoughts, then, or harmful thoughts, then it's ripened, it's gone. So how will you respond when things pop up? How will you keep your motivation in the midst of fire? What will you do? That's when you take refuge. You must, because that's all you can do. Will it stop the fire? Maybe. Maybe not. You have to spend a lot of time on really understanding where things, what I'm doing today and how it's going to affect me later. How I'm responding to the things that happen in a moment. Because I can't change that moment. You can't really change that moment until you reach a very high point of your practice where it's moving, and it will be so powerful that you will be able to. You will get to that point where you can. But you have to create the causes for that to happen. It's not going to just happen like that. So for some, with some intention to aspire to that, you need that. Because emptiness sets the fire.
Sets the fire or stops the fire?
Yes. If you have to make this, just to say, okay, stops or starts. Do I want to start this? Do I want to stop this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? If you have any kind of moment, trying to even make a decision, is this right? Is this right? Then what's happening at that moment? You think you're going to come up with an answer? You're going to tell me this is better than that? That's better than this? Should I take this refuge? Should I get the Band-Aid? Should I get the butterfly thing? Should I go to the doctor? Should I call my acupuncturist? Really, right? All day long, come on, you know it. Should I wear these shoes? Should I get in that car? 2 cars, right? It is. Then you're not working at the core of the mechanism. You will one day have no decisions to make at all. Because you will create the causes for the perfect decision to manifest right there in front of you. There won't be, oh, this will give me protection, or that will give me, this will work, that will work. It'll work. But you have to create the causes for it to work. Emptiness starts the fire and stops it, and starts it, ends
I get it now. Thank you.
How committed are you to trying to incorporate that in your life every day? Think about it. How really? To realize that every corner, every inch of this realm, of this room, comes from you. You. Completely. Completely. Not part in, part out. Not part the builder. If that's the case, then don't you want to eliminate every single thing from that causes you any kind of suffering, uncomfortableness, you know, hunger, no sleep, no shoes. What's that about shoes? You know, it's, wouldn't you want to eliminate anything that causes you? Don't you want to cut it from the root? It's like, I want to dig it out. You have to kind of have that fierce desire. It has to be fierce. I want it to end. I want it. I truly don't want to feel bad for one other minute. I don't want to. You know you're not going to say the opposite. Oh, I want to feel bad. You don't have that. So why can't, you know, it's like, do you have enough I want to feel good? Do you? Maybe not. You should. Is there a reason you shouldn't feel good? Please feel good. You know, it's like, I will do whatever it takes this time with these opportunities and resources that I have, because they are incredibly difficult to find and they can be so easily destroyed. I pray to you, my Lama, angel beyond all angels, every single shelter there is, all in a single person. I pray to you, my Lama, free of every obstacle. Please, may I too, one day, now. So fierce the desire to be out of that, so fierce. This is no refuge here in this world. There isn't. There really isn't. I mean, it's good that you don't have to suffer too much. But there's no ultimate refuge. There's no ultimate protection that'll bring you happiness. It has to be beyond, you know? It has to be. You have to work at the mechanism, you know? What's the mechanism that even gets this realm started? What is it? You know? Because then we get stuck in it. You know, we seem to think about, okay, I can think maybe that, okay, if I do this, it'll start this to go, but then you get stuck in it. If you have the knowledge of the mechanism, you know, of that mechanism by which things work in a downward cycle, then you can do it upward cycle. You know, work at the level of the deeper causes. You know, the rest will take care of itself. You know, don't get caught up in seeing things as separate choices. Should I do this or should I do that? Will this make me feel better or will that make me feel better? How much of this prayer should I do or should I do that one? Should I even do this prayer? Maybe this one's better. Or maybe this teaching's better. Maybe that teacher's better. Maybe this one. It's all day long, right? These choices are all day long. You know, if you're agonizing over some kind of decision, then something's wrong with the thinking. Something is wrong. You're not understanding the core of the mechanism. Each choice is viewed as something self-existing. You're not working on the level of where you create the causes to not have to make that decision. Amazing things will happen when you start working at that level, that very subtle level. You start working to shift the very subtle levels of the winds and channels of the world by this certain kind of thinking and actions that you do. The universe will change. The entire world, really. Entire. Everything. Have no doubt. Everything you do matters. Every single thing. And don't get worried. You're like, oh God, those things. You probably have a list in your head of what you did today, and you're thinking everything, you know. But it is like that. Seeing the list, it shifts. It really shifts. There'll be so much goodness. And you'll respond to the best you can to the things. And you'll start feeling it. You'll feel the change. But you need to go to make that change. You need to have some sort of idea of what it is that will give you the support to do so, that'll give you the help to do so, to give you the assistance to, how do you want to look at it? Shelter, refuge, protection. You come up with the word that it is. But that's what we're talking about. It is exactly that. I mean, let's look at it very, how can the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha help you? And that's what we're taking refuge in, isn't it? So, the Sangha, a realized being who possesses a number of fine qualities of certain knowledge and liberation. You can say, definition. Right? The apparent Sangha wears robes. Like the representative for those who have seen emptiness directly. Like the representative. It's very powerful. The ultimate Sangha are the Aryas, the person who has seen emptiness directly. Taking refuge in you seeing emptiness directly one day, right? Taking refuge in something that will remove every single mental affliction you have once you understand and have seen emptiness directly. You have eliminated, and you're on the path of getting used to what you've seen, and you will destroy every single mental affliction, guaranteed, one day. Taking refuge in that which will remove your mental afflictions permanently. You must see emptiness directly. Take refuge in it. The Dharma joy. you know, the Dharma, the books, the teachings, those are the things that we think of when we think of Dharma, right? I'm going to my Dharma class, the teachings. The enlightened side of truth, either in the form of a cessation or in the form of a path. It is the perception of emptiness. The Dharma jewel is the perception of emptiness. You are taking refuge in that perception. It's just the nominal apparent Dharma, the books, the teachings. What you need, the ultimate Dharma, the refuge of Dharma, is the perception of emptiness directly, period. Going to refuge in that. How beautiful is that? It's your perception of emptiness. I know it. It's like taking refuge in this object. You should be beginning to get a feel. What is this object? You. But you have to have certainty about that potential. You see? Otherwise, I mean, you might have been thinking, what is that? You should know that. And then the Buddha, what does the Buddha have to do with this? Right? The Buddha jewel is the one you go for refuge. You know, it's the, here you have to be, it's the emptiness of the Buddha. The ultimate place of refuge is in the Buddha jewel, the one who has completely satisfied both your needs and their needs. Accomplished everything everyone else needs, accomplished everything that they need. The enlightenment being. Of course, the apparent Buddha jewel is the images you see, the photographs of an enlightened being, your Lama. The Buddha that you will become. You'll have a mind. An enlightened mind. The emptiness of your mind. Your mind that sees emptiness directly. The emptiness is no different from the emptiness of your mind now. That emptiness. Emptiness of your mind. How you do become enlightened because of that. You're taking refuge in that. So this is the highest level. It's like the result refuge. The highest level of cause refuge is you're going to create the causes so that no one suffers anymore. No one. This is where refuge is combined with bodhicitta. You really want to, be in a world where, everything is nice forever and there is nobody suffering anymore. And really wish that for everybody else. Everybody. Every single being. Well, I think we'll take a little break and we'll move on with the So, but I really would like to I need to explain to you the vows. So I'm just deciding to do it after the break instead of before. Because I can't give you refuge commitments and I'll tell you what they are. I won't do it. So therefore, we're going to go late. So we'll see if your karma is there. I mean, I hope. But I want you to really think at this moment, for this break, I want you to really be thinking what you're taking refuge in, as I just spoke of. In you. Okay? And it has to be, because it has to be. It has to. There's no way it's going to work. It's not intimately related to emptiness. So please think about what that means. I prefer you kind of stay contemplating a little bit. You can stretch, please walk, and pour water on your face. Whatever it takes. There's some cookies and things. Have some tea. But yeah. Think really strong, because you want to have a mindset when you take these commitments. You want to really have it really strong in your mind. So based on what you've heard and felt, just contemplate it, okay? While we take a breath. Let's offer what we heard so far.